Tucked away in the fastnesses of the northeastern Himalayas, Sikkim, with an area of 7,300 square kilometers, has traditionally been looked upon as an abode of spiritual tranquility. Hinduism is the religion of the vast majority of inhabitants. Lepinhas and Bhutias, professing Buddhism, form the next dominant group. Thus, Indo-Sikkimese ties are firmly rooted in religion and culture. Only distance and lack of communications kept Sikkim somewhat remote from the other princely states of the period. But commerce and contacts flourished at all times between India and Sikkim. A protectorate of India since 1890, this special relationship with India continued after independence. In the process of national consolidation, Sikkim was allowed to retain its distinctive identity and traditional setup of a princely order. The democratic urges of the people, however, demanded change relevant to the times. Following a mass uprising in Sikkim, the Indo-Sikkimese Treaty of 1950 was signed. Under this, India was accorded the right to take all measures necessary for the external relations, defense and communications of Sikkim, as well as the maintenance of good government. Indian troops posted along the passes in the northern borders of Sikkim have for decades protected the borders from incursions into India. The Sikkim ruler, known by convention as the Maharaja, was permitted to call himself the Chogyal in 1965. Under the Chogyal's father, Sikkim was granted a constitution as outlined in the 1953 proclamation. But the terms of representation on the State Council, formed to assist the Darbar in administration, were so contrived as to let the autocratic rule of the Chogyal prevail. The Chogyal proved an adept in playing the game of local politics. But apparently he forgot that apart from the leaders of the three Sikkim political parties, the people as a whole were demanding the benefits of self-determination and democracy. Under successive governments, India has made sincere efforts to achieve a political settlement for the democratic advance of Sikkim. Also, India, ever since 1952, has participated fully in the economic development of Sikkim to keep the region moving towards progress during the period of political transition. The Darbar's record of office holds no brief for the Chogyal. On the other hand, unbiased political commentators agree that India has shown tremendous patience with the Chogyal, who was creating a climate of confusion and chaos in this sensitive and strategic region, unmindful of the welfare of the people. In the 1973 election, the Chogyal maneuvered again to retain power. Since the election was not based on one man, one vote principle, the Sikkim National Party, which was generally referred to as the Palace Party, emerged triumphant at the polls. The opposition boycotted the session of the State Council and took out a protest march, claiming that the election was rigged and demanding for the one man, one vote principle. Sikkim witnessed a total collapse of administration. The Chogyal, as also the Sikkimese Joint Council of Action, formed of political parties protesting against the elections, appealed to India to enforce law and order. Negotiations between the Chogyal and the Joint Council of Action failed, and a mammoth crowd marched on Gangtok. From 1953, when the first ever election was held in Sikkim, to 1973 was a far cry. Gone now were the special reservations that put a minority group of 20% level with a 75% majority. With the acceptance of the principle, one man, one vote, which after all is the essence of people's participation, power moved into the hands of the people. The 32-member Sikkim Assembly, inaugurated in 1974, passed the Government of Sikkim Bill. In July, the first popular ministry in Sikkim, headed by Kazi Lendup Dorji, assumed office. It seemed a final and happy ending to the years of struggle, marked by discontent and distress and political unrest.
उनको मालूम है हम कितना उनको साथ में काम किया, उनको साथ साथ सिक्किम को लिए, और साथ साथ छेगे भी जरूर समय बदल गया, अभी उसको भी ये समय को परिवर्तन से उनको भी जरूर बदलानी चाहिए, खाली बदलाना नहीं है कि उन्हें भी पूरा हमारे साथ साथ काम करना चाहिए.
Your Highness, since the peace has returned to this beautiful land of Sikkim, could you please give a message of goodwill to the people of Sikkim?
Well, we have been through a very painful period, and we have tried to achieve something. Now we have to translate these things into fact, so that things are really starting, and I am fully committed towards full democratic responsible government for my people. We have to safeguard the Government of India's rights, obligations and interests in Sikkim.
But it was not to be. The palace continued its confrontation of the government of the people without hesitating to use intimidation and terror for the purpose. The Popular Assembly, representing the people's voice, finally decided to communicate with India on a people-to-people level in the interest of Sikkim and of the Indian Union. The Lok Sabha amended the Constitution of India to admit Sikkim as an associate state. The Chogyal's reluctance to accept the position of constitutional head of state and his hostile moves at all stages to thwart the wishes of the people posed the final challenge. The Sikkim Assembly had no other choice but to resolve that the office of the Chogyal is hereby abolished and Sikkim shall henceforth be a constituent unit of India. This resolution was endorsed by an overwhelming majority in a special poll held shortly thereafter.
हम लोग मॉर्निंग इधर आया, हम लोग इधर फॉरेन मिनिस्टर से मिला और इधर होम मिनिस्टर से मिला, जी हाँ, अभी प्राइम मिनिस्टर मिला और कांग्रेस को प्रेसिडेंट साहब से मिला और साथ ही हमारे प्रेसिडेंट साहब से भी मिला, अभी हम लोग प्राइम मिनिस्टर साहब से भी मिला. ये हमारा सिक्किम को लोकतंत्र कैसा उल्टा चलता है, ये छेगल को, ये छेगल अवैधानिक, ये टोटली ये एंटी डेमोक्रेसी काम कर रहा है. तो इसको ऊपर इतना वो जबरदस्ती हमारा माल डालने को भी वो कोशिश करता है. तो इसको जल्दी तो जल्दी अब तो एक्शन नहीं होगा, इसको हटा नहीं जाएगा तो हमारा डेमोक्रेसी को मजबूत करना नहीं सकेगा. हमारे देश में कोई उन्नति, कोई चीज होने में बहुत मुश्किल है. तो इसलिए हम सभी लोग नेताओं लोग से मिलके हमारा ये सब, हमारा सिक्किम में क्या अभी हो रहा है, ये सब बात हम ये सवाल अर्ज कर दिया. उन्होंने भी, सब लोगों ने, ठीक है, जनता को अभी जनमत से मालूम हो गया कि वर्ल्ड में मालूम है कि जनता किस तरफ है. तो ये लोकतंत्र है, तो लोग को क्या करने चाहता, लोग को मांग क्या है, वही होना चाहिए. तो हम लोग को भी लोग को साथ को जरूर मदद देंगे. तो आपको जितना ये रेजोल्यूशन पास किया है उसको जरूर, उसको ऊपर हम लोग ख्याल करेंगे, उसको हटाने को जरूर हम लोग भी आपको साथ को सहमत है बोल के आश्वासन हमको मिल गया. इसलिए हम लोग बड़ी खुशी है.
The Lok Sabha passed the 38th Constitutional Amendment Bill on April 23rd, 1975. Sikkim, as the 22nd state of the Indian Union, emerges from behind the veils of feudal darkness to greet the dawn of democracy.